Tonight on KGW News, a police drone squeezes into a suspect's secret hiding spot. Also tonight, call it a billion-dollar move by the world's largest coffee chain.
We'll tell you which Starbucks in Portland are closing their doors.
Plus, new at 11, what's on the list for new tariffs just announced are as high as 100%. Then,
oh yes, we are the bravest baby man in the world.
how a wandering puppy led rescuers to save more than 40 suffering dogs. And later,
I'm crying tears of joy.
how the Mariners fan who caught a Cal Raleigh home run ball and the young boy he handed it off to are now both being rewarded. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We begin tonight with the unprecedented indictment of a former FBI director some are already calling politically motivated. A federal grand jury today charging James Comey with 2 criminal counts related to testimony he gave to Congress some 5 years ago. Laura Jarrett walks us through the charges.
With the window for a possible prosecution of James Comey soon closing, all eyes tonight on this courthouse in Virginia. If there's an indictment of the former FBI director, it would happen here, according to people familiar with the matter. It's something the president has long demanded, now potentially an extraordinary escalation against one of Mr. Trump's greatest perceived enemies. The president appearing to distance himself from the case today.
Well, I can't tell you what's going to happen because I don't know. You have very professional people. I think I'd be allowed to get involved if I want, but I don't really choose to do so. I can only say that Comey's a bad person.
Multiple DOJ officials tell NBC News prosecutors have focused on whether the former FBI director lied to Congress during his testimony in 2020 when asked if he'd ever authorized a leak to the press.
I stand by what the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017.
Any charges stemming from that testimony set to expire next week, while the path to criminal charges has been met with scrutiny inside DOJ. The top prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia, tasked with investigating Comey, resigned last week rather than seek an indictment. A former Trump defense attorney sworn in his place this week. As a senior Justice Department official tells NBC News, career prosecutors in Virginia sent her a detailed memo explaining why they believe there isn't enough evidence to charge Comey with a crime. The president voicing public frustration that his attorney general has not yet charged those who've criticized and investigated him, including Comey. Pam Bondi seen dining with Mr. Trump at the White House last night as reports of Comey's possible indictment swirled.
Well, the indictment did come down this evening. The charges are making a false statement and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. Pam Bondi, the AG, saying they will continue to follow the facts. Meanwhile, Comey posted video tonight responding to the indictment.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either.
Comey added that he is innocent, has faith in the federal justice system, and welcomes a trial. Well, speaking of the president, it turns out he brought Portland up again today while talking to the media at the White House. And once again, he alluded to sending federal resources to put a stop to ongoing protests at the ICE facility. Take a listen.
Take a look at Portland sometime. These are wild, these are crazy people, and they're trying to burn down buildings, including federal buildings. And on my list of things that I want to do before we finish up with the cities, because I think we're going to whip the cities back into shape, but we have to. We cannot let our cities, and that's a small example, but it's the most violent example. It's every night, and they've done it for years.
The president also claimed again, without providing any evidence to back it up, that many of the protesters at the South Waterfront are paid agitators. Tonight, the president, by the way, also announcing a new round of tariffs he says will kick in next Wednesday. They include a 100% import tax on pharmaceuticals, a 50% tax on kitchen cabinets, 30% on upholstered furniture, and 25% on heavy trucks. The president saying foreign manufacturers of those products are flooding the U.S. market and hurting domestic producers. The move comes with the economy facing a weakening outlook for jobs and elevated inflation. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a man who shot at police officers during a standoff in Portland's Woodlawn neighborhood last year has now been sentenced to 20 years in prison. This is body cam video from that incident. 25-year-old Jesse James West was found guilty on multiple felony counts, including attempted murder. Prosecutors say when officers stopped West, he was in a stolen car, refused to surrender, and fired 6 rounds at officers. Police returned fire, hitting and injuring West. No officers were hurt. The murder suspect mistakenly released from the Multnomah County Jail is now back in custody. 26-year-old Tyler Sage was released earlier this week despite a judge's order to keep him behind bars. Deputies say U.S. Marshals helped arrest Sage around 1 this afternoon at a gas station off Highway 101 in Florence. Sage is charged with second-degree murder in connection with a 2021 shooting that left a 15-year-old dead in Gresham. He will now be booked into jail on what is called a no-bail hold. And in North Portland, police are investigating a drive-by shooting at Dawson Park. Authorities responded to reports of shots fired along North Williams just after 4. No one was injured, but investigators say they found shell casings in the street and also damage to a picnic shelter. Okay, let's take a live look outside on this Thursday night, where so far the first few days of a brand new season have been filled with lots of blue sky and sunshine. No change, as it always appears to be this time of year, is now on the horizon. Chief Meteorologist Matt Safinos here with the first look at your weekend and beyond. Matt?
Yeah, David, horizon being the key word in terms of the change, because we still have a couple of great days on the way before we get into rainier and cool weather. 57 degrees right now. It is a cool night out there. You'll notice that. We had cool temperatures this morning. We will again tomorrow morning. In fact, we look at the numbers around the area, already down to the 40s at Timber, 52 at Hag Lake, 51 in Beaverton, 57 in Troutdale and Portland, 55 in Scappoose, and already down to 48 in McMinnville. So it is a bit of a chilly night out there for sure. All right, let's check out what's going to happen, though, as we go through time here, because we've got a couple of really great days on the way. We are running, as I mentioned, quite a bit cooler than this time last night. Double-digit cooling, 10 degrees cooler across the metro area, and still cooler at the Oregon coast as well. A little bit warmer on the east side of the state because they have some cloud cover right now. Tomorrow, though, those clouds have pushed away. We'll see sunshine about 50 in the morning, even in Portland, but 73 in the afternoon. Sunrise at 7:03 now after 7 p.m. All right, so here are the headlines for you. Mostly sunny through Saturday, so still good. Warmer on Saturday compared to today and tomorrow. Then it gets rainy and cool next week. More on that, and a great sunset for you, too, as those high clouds came over. David?
Gotta enjoy it while it lasts. Thanks so much, Matt. Well, to more trouble for coffee giant Starbucks, with hundreds more layoffs and a $1 billion restructuring plan, which means it is now shutting down hundreds of stores nationwide. Catherine Cook's in the newsroom. Catherine, this includes a handful right here in the Portland metro.
It does, David. So far, we've learned of 5 Portland Starbucks set to close, plus others around the metro area. The company is citing struggling business, but customers and employees did not expect these closures.
It's kind of sad because I know that a lot of people at my school really enjoy coming here.
Anya Agrawal just learned this Starbucks near PSU is closing for good. Same for 4 other Portland locations and 15 Starbucks across Oregon. The company announced Thursday they're closing 1% of their coffee shops nationwide. They haven't released a full list, but hundreds of stores are expected to shutter.
It's pretty sad to see that option being taken from them, but I also do know that there are a lot of independent coffee shops around the area that I think will appreciate the support a lot more than Starbucks, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, will.
A corporation facing difficulties in its own right. Starbucks CEO called the closures a, quote, significant action to turn around its struggling business. They're also laying off 900 non-retail employees. That's on top of the 1,000 people they laid off earlier this year.
A lot of companies are doing the same right now. They are weeding out non-performing stores, not making their profit margin.
But what is a non-performing Starbucks? We watched as customer after customer stopped to read the store closing notice here on Southeast 28th and East Burnside. Confusion and disappointment on their faces. The other 3 Portland stores closing, this one on West Burnside next to Zupan's, the Starbucks inside the Pac West building downtown, and Southwest 34th and Capitol Highway in Multnomah Village. Sisters Ellie and Dylan are sad to see their Starbucks close.
Both me and Dylan love to come here both after school, before school. It's a great place to hang out, do homework.
Yeah, it's sort of like a safe space for all kids to go. Let's say
you're a mom, like got the wrong time and you need like somewhere to be, like that's the perfect spot.
Everyone needs the hangout. Also closing the Starbucks in Wood Village on Northeast 238th, and in Vancouver, the Starbucks across from Esther Short Park. David.
All right, Catherine Cook in the newsroom. Appreciate your reporting tonight. Now to an update in the search for a hit-and-run driver involved in a deadly crash. Police released a description of the suspect vehicle today. It is a Cadillac SRX. That's a crossover SUV. Potentially a 2010 to 2016 model, and while they do not know the color, authorities add it would have damage to the front bumper on the passenger side. This crash, by the way, was just before 11 last night on North Marine Drive near Anchor Way. One woman was killed. Anyone with information, again, a Cadillac SRX, damage on the front passenger side, should contact Portland Police. New at 11, hip-hop icon Ice Cube is speaking out after a fire broke out on one of his tour buses in Portland. It turns out one of the tires of the bus burned while he was in the Rose City for his Truth to Power tour. In a statement, Ice Cube said he is, quote, not taking this incident as a personal attack, adding that a, quote, coward like that would burn anybody's property that was out there at the time, end quote. Portland Fire could not confirm the cause, but did say they are investigating. They add the fire was quickly put out and that they vented smoke from the inside of the bus. Glad everyone's okay there. New tonight, communities across the country held events to honor the memories of people whose lives were cut short by murder. And this evening in Vancouver, that included a mother and daughter killed by a man who had just been released from jail. Al McCarty takes a look at how their family and others are standing strong.
At Esther Short Park in Vancouver.
Today is a day that compels us to pause and reflect on that devastating impact of homicide.
A candlelight memorial, a remembrance of lives lost to violence and the lasting impact of murder.
Tragedy that could have crushed us, literally crushed the life out of us, didn't. And on top of that, we're not alone.
Loved ones of victims sharing their grief and their strength.
Forget, say their names, because it makes it more powerful. We can't give the people who took them away power.
And their ongoing fight for justice and change.
We continue to be afraid, and we're not going to stand up for what we know is correct and right and just. We're going to see more and more people show up at these events, and it's going to be for the wrong reason.
Michelle Bart of the National Women's Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation explained this event is one way to be part of a solution.
We had many clients here tonight, and their cases aren't closed yet, and we still have work to do.
Among those honored Thursday evening, Michelle Melendez and her daughter Layla Stewart, who were killed back in March 2023.
Her family and friends were all out here in force tonight. The balloons were for the girls. Lots of the decorations were for the girls.
Their deaths at the hands of Kirkland Warren, Michelle's ex-boyfriend who pleaded guilty last year. And last week, the family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Clark County, alleging that the county negligently put the mother and daughter in danger by allowing Warren to be released from jail. He murdered them while out on bail. He's now serving a life sentence.
We'll never understand their reasoning. So it's not even worth trying. What is worth trying is making sure they can't ever do it again.
In Vancouver, Alma McCarty, KGW News.